I think one of the most misconceptions about the cloud is thinking that it's only about elastic. Because many people say, we don't need the cloud because we've got 3 servers, and that's it already, and we are very fine with that, and there will be never a situation where we need 50 or 5,000 or whatever. And this is a problem with the state of mind, because it's not only about having an infinite number of servers at your fingertips, but thinking radically different what a server, which used to be a piece of hardware, actually is. And what we think is, and that comes back to the topic of my talk, that servers are actually software. They are a service commodity, and they are disposable at your will. Let me do an example. Deployment of software. This is a huge topic, especially in larger companies. If you develop software, you will find lots of architectural diagrams how to roll out software, which is the large and complex processes for most people, and the larger organization, or the more secure they are, banks, whatever, the more complex this process gets. And usually find these typical buzzwords like development, test, production. That makes a typical IT guy really, really happy if a test and production and maybe staging system. And if you do a Google search, you find a lot of these architectural diagrams, which are really ugly, by the way. I think all the IT guys are doing ugly diagrams. How to roll out your software. So basically you have the developers working on one environment, and then you put it on test so somebody else can test it, and then you put it on staging, and then you really found out that this may be working, you put it in production, and after only 2 months or so, it's all working. What we are doing, for example, is something completely radical different. We are not having, of course, physical servers, we're running it all in the cloud, and this is an example of what we are doing. For example, we have 3 production servers here running. And if we want to do a new deployment, we just start up another bunch of 3 servers with a new version of the software, which are exactly the same, because I simply can clone them. And what we are doing then is we're installing them on the new servers, and then we can simply switch our load balancer to the new servers and throw the old servers away. This allows another great possibility which you can do. For example, you not can only throw away servers, you can also clone servers. This might be interesting in some scenarios. For example, one scenario is integration testing. If we are releasing a new software, we clone, it's not just the 3 servers we have, we clone our whole complete cloud environment. We can just push one button, and then a whole cloud fires up with lots of servers and services and stuff like that. It's completely automatized, so we can simply clone our current production environment and run all the tests on it and shut it down afterwards. And that makes it easy to have a real testing environment, because as Nikolai already said, testing is really, really crucial on the cloud. And if you simply, every developer can fire up his whole production environment. So if you have 7 developers, and usually would have 4 servers, you would need 28 servers just for realizing this model in the old world. And in the cloud, it's simply no problem. So integration testing on the automatized space is easy, and simply every developer can have his own cloud and work with it. I used to put up cat pictures in every presentation, so that's very important. So this is a new model about thinking about doing deployments, for example. And the key how to achieve that is basically automatization. This is the main thing which defines and drives the cloud. You have to automatize all these processes, how to create your servers, how to do stuff, and whatever. You just have to push one button, and then everything has to go automatically. If you need to log on one server and change something, you basically did something wrong. If you automatize it completely, you always know what's running on your server, because you programmatically describe your machine, and you're not installing something by hand, and that's what we call today DevOps. If you see that in today's world, the developers are all the mostly responsible for running the machines. That's the case with us, and that's the case among other cloud companies I know. Because you simply eliminate one another, like the system administrators, where there's always, please do this, please do that. The people who are running the machines and the programming the software are basically the same people. What we do, we use a technique which is called Chef. And Chef is a nice open source project which allows you to programmatically describe what should be installed on your servers. And when we start up the server, we just say, okay, use this cookbook and with these recipes. And so I can easily say, okay, this should be a server which is suitable for a search engine, or this should be a database server, should be an application server, whatever. And this really, really allows you to gain control what's installed on these servers, because even if I'm not sure what's running on these servers, I simply can kill the server and restart it, because installed from scratch and installed exactly according to my recipes, how I programmed him, what he has to do. So there's no more guesswork about what is installed there and which version is it. You just look it up in your software, you just look it up in your cookbooks, and your server gets fired up. And this is a very modern way how to do it, because then, at this point, servers are only a service described in code. Amazon has a really nice environment for that. They call it OpsWorks. It's just been recently introduced. That's what we all use, which gives you all these chef environments, already pre-installed. You can just start off writing your recipes and installing your server the way you want to. So if a system administrator comes and says, okay, I've got root and I install this software there and do an installation documentation, that's not the way how you do it in the cloud. Servers are basically software, they're coded, they're administrated by the developers, and their lifetime is maybe a deployment, maybe some minutes, maybe some hours, maybe even some days or months, but that's it. You don't have to think about a physical box, but rather a service which you can use, dispose, reuse, clone, whatever you want to. And that really makes it stand out as a cloud service, because that really allows you to know what's going on and code your software in a way that it fits to the service without talking to other people. And this is basically the main thing what differs cloud from hosting. If you're just putting up machines and installing some stuff on your hard drive, you might not get the full power of the cloud, which you can actually use, because it's just hosting in another location. But if you really do the approach and try to describe servers problematically, then you get the full opportunity to fire up an unlimited number of them, dispose them, throw them away, just fire them up for some development work, do some testing on it, and so on. And this kind of automatization is really what the cloud makes standing out.